Yo, what's going on, everybody? Shimok here, and today we're taking a look at the 9.1 bonus update notes. Brothers, it is time for the balance. Some pretty interesting balance changes in here. I'm not sure if I love every single one of them, but hey, let's get into it and break them all down. There are a few in the 9.1 that I wish were just in the bonus, because there's some things that are just unfun to play against, but we'll get to them when we get to them, and I'll point them out to you. So some pretty neat skins. They follow, well, other than the hot dog one, they follow regular themes and stuff. It doesn't feel like anything too new, but pretty cool skins. Sundering Siphon, apparently there was an issue with it where it was dealing more damage than intended. I saw this maybe once, I think, on a Circuit support or something, so I haven't really seen or played with it too much, but okay. I mean, gotta get that fixed, right? Chaotic Beast, some really interesting changes here. Now deals 7% of your current health instead of max health. I think that's fair. I mean, it does not need to be based off max health. That wasn't very fair. But the big one is this now deals magical damage instead of true damage. So it's not quite as bad as physical damage, because obviously you start with every character starts with lower magical protections than they do physical. So it's not the end of the world, but this definitely takes it down like a huge amount of pegs. I gotta get better at like words and stuff, but yeah, this is a huge hit to its overall damage output. But yeah, I think that's fair. It was just temporal beats, very good, but there were just some situations where I was like, okay, if I go chaotic beats here, I will actually chunk someone for like a third or a quarter of their HP just by using chaotic beats at the right time. So. But the big one for me, boom, meditation getting absolutely slamboozled. So it's going down from 5% of missing health and mana to 3%. So almost having its effectiveness there. And that's both. That's also on the upgrade, and it is also on the healing of Aztec. I still haven't looked up how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, but also on the cloak of the Avatar as well. So really taking down, bro. This isn't taking it down a peg. This is taking it down a whole building. This is what we're taking down here. This is just absolutely massive for meditation. I'm interested to see how it'll feel, but I think we're really gonna feel this, because you would get to like you would just start fighting and you'd hit like a third or maybe even a quarter HP. You'd pop med and you would just be like full HP. You'd be like over half like within 2 seconds, and it was just not fair. And you could fight right through it, and it was really just created these stalemates where it's like, oh, this seems like a good trade for us to go for, bro. And then no, they just meted through it, and then they try and take a trade on you, and you guys met it, and it's like, oh, okay, now we're backing because we spent so much time, and then let's just reset again. Oh. It was pretty boring, honestly. That was one thing I noticed when I was playing duo lane, especially for trying to do the Apollo guide and stuff. When I was playing in duo lane, this meditation was oof. Warrior's Axe, still not removing it, bro. Come on. But okay, they are nerfing it pretty, not mega significantly. They clearly don't want to completely tank the item for some reason. I mean, it's been good for like an entire season now. I think we can move on from this. Okay, I know Bluestone was good for a decent amount of last season as well, but I don't know. I think it's just time to move away from this item. So maybe do give it a bigger kick. I don't know. But anyways, we gotta play with the cards we're dealt. Okay, so they're decreasing the passive effect damage in healing and mana gain. I actually forgot about the mana gain on this on this item, but I guess because they have blue buff and stuff. But yeah, from 25 to 20. So okay, chipping away at it. Yeah, I get it. And increase the passive cooldown. I think it was 10 seconds pre-buff before they buffed this and nerfed Bluestone in Season 8. So I guess we're getting closer to where it was when we first started. Or maybe this is where it was. I'm trying to remember. But I think this is pretty much where it was when it first dropped last season. So we'll see how this does. Hopefully we stop seeing it every single game, because that's starting to get really old. But I mean, yeah, Bluestone's on the come up a little bit as well, and I'm pretty sure it gets buffed next patch as well. So hey, we'll see about that. Hopefully we're moving past it. All right. So Crusher is finally getting a nerf, and I don't know how to feel about it. I'll be honest. I really like how Crusher felt. I know it's like the Warrior's Axe, right? Like, why don't I hate Crusher as much as I hate Warrior's Axe? It's just because Crusher felt so good. you know? It just felt like such a great all-around item, and I know it's being bought pretty much every single game, and, you know, Hi-Rez probably saw how much Crusher was being picked up in the Hunter role still, and they were just like, oh my god, I'm trying to get to see this item. But for me, it just felt so good, you know? Like, it always felt like such a nice little power spike, and it's just... I get it. It's time to move away from the Crusher. I understand, but yeah, this, unlike Warrior's Axe, I'm gonna miss Crusher if this does bring it out of contention, which I think it might, because there are some builds that don't go Crusher already. And a 5% attack speed nerf is actually pretty significant when it comes down to calculating full build, right? So, and of course, it also hurts the power spike nature of the item. So Achilles seeing one change, but it is, you know, this is helpful as well, especially with Runeforge running around. A 10% power scaling decrease on Achilles is 1. Hey, I think that makes sense. This isn't like, I don't think this is going to kill the character, because the character has a lot of good things going for him right now, especially when it comes to his flexibility in the builds. I mean, Achilles is the definition of a flexible character, right? But, you know, I think this is a good place to start. They don't want to chuck him back into obscurity again, because Achilles he is a really good character to keep in the meta, because he's just a... I don't want to call him too basic, but, you know, he is pretty basic, and he should linger around the center point of balance and not be too OP, because it's pretty unfun when he's OP. So this is a good place to sort of take him down a peg. Maybe we can see more, maybe like nerfs to his 2, or maybe nerfs to his cooldowns, so rushing CDR on him and stuff isn't quite as effective. But hey, I'll take this as a starting point to nerfing him. So next up, we got some pretty big Bastet changes. So they're really nerfing the ever-living shit, frankly, out of her Night Stalker passive. This is the one that gives her basically ability Lifesteal. I mean, this in conjunction with Jotun's Vigor as well was just Lamau. It was just pretty Lamau, let's be honest. You would see her get chunked to half HP for doing a combo, and then like she would land her jump 3 on somebody, and she would just get like all of her health back, and it was like, oh, okay. Did not feel very fair whatsoever. But, you know, and then Huntress of Bast, this is her ultimate. Seeing a 20 damage decrease. It should be like a 400 damage decrease. Just make this not deal damage. I mean, I do wonder what Fenrir's ultimate is, because I think Fenrir's ult is a little bit more... I think that makes sense, because obviously Fenrir needs to put himself in danger, but like Fenrir is fine to build tanky on, though, so... yeah, I would like to use Fenrir's ult as a baseline, because they are 2 separate abilities, right? But I feel like Bastet ult just kind of power crept it a little bit, because obviously it goes through walls. Bastet does not have to put herself in danger. I would say the CC is, of course, Fenrir ult can be better in certain situations, but the CC as a whole on Bastet ult is just as good, as, if not better, in most situations than the Fenrir ult. So, yeah, kind of a absolutely disgusting ability. Maybe they could look into removing the sand at the base of where the ultimate lands when it comes back to Bastet. Maybe they could look into honestly just removing that, because I think maybe getting picked up and chucked back like 50 meters, that might be enough CC. I don't think she needs any more. I know the character isn't super CC heavy. She really only has a root, but ooh, this character has been so difficult and annoying to deal with. But I do like the changes they're making to the lifesteal passive. Hopefully she doesn't heal all the way back up to full, but I do think Bastet will still be pretty strong after these changes. So, Camazotz with yet another nerf. I guess I could see it. Yeah, he is so annoying to deal with, especially when he's meta and when he's really, really strong, has a lot of good items to go into, has some really good early pressure, because it feels like he just kind of walks at you and there's nothing you can really do because he heals all the way through it. You know, yeah, it's pretty annoying. I have mentioned a few times, I think Camazotz is a really cool character, especially with the ultimate, but yeah, I think he has had his time in the sun now. It's probably time to keep on nerfing him until he goes away, basically. So Devour, which is his 3, I do really like this change. An increased cooldown at base level, and then scaling back to where it is now. I think that's a fair change. I think that makes sense. This one I'm not so sure about. 120 seconds. You sure? 120 is a little excessive. I could maybe take 110, I guess. But you know, with 120, that's like Yamoja ult, bro. Camazotz ult is not a Yamoja ult, you know. Of course, it is a get out of jail free card, which we're trying to shut down, and it's also a free tower dive, which we're also trying to shut down. So the ability itself is a bit of a problem. I get that, but 120 seconds is a little too excessive. I think they're crushing just the feeling of playing the character at that point. You're just messing with the people who actually enjoy playing Camazotz. You know, that's how I feel about that. So Fenrir, which we were just talking about with the Ragnarok, increasing the cooldown on the ult to 100 seconds. Really interesting. Fenrir's getting a nerf, actually, finally. He got, what did he get, like 10 buffs in a row, pretty much? He had, like, the runes, and they put the AoE on his 3, they upped the damage on his 1, I think, or something. Just tons and tons and tons and tons of buffs, and now we're nerfing him, finally. Okay, so... he was popping up here or there, but yeah, I know he wasn't super meta for super long, but definitely still a decent pick. Less prevalent than Circuit, that's for sure. But all right, Ragnarok increasing the cooldown to 100 seconds. That's, yeah, I guess that makes sense, especially considering how much CDR there is in the game at this point. I do wonder. I think, yeah, actually, I'm thinking about a Jotun's breastplate build would probably be pretty nasty on Fenrir. I'm thinking. Yeah, that'd be pretty gross. With the Runeforge as well, bro. We're actually just cooking up the sauce while we're doing a patch notes review. But yeah, I think that's a fair change. Because like getting Fenrir picked up is kind of kind of difficult to play around sometimes. So that makes sense. They want to touch Fenrir a little bit. Not touching the damage is interesting though, but not touching Fenrir's damage. I think that's one of the really big reasons for his overall prevalence. Of course, the ultimate is a big reason for that, but as well as the mobility, so maybe touching his other cooldowns, or maybe touching the damage on his 3. You know, I think those are other things that could maybe be touched as well. Gilgamesh, I think this is actually like the... well, if we count individual ability nerfs as like singular nerfs, not just like this is a wave of nerfs this patch. If we go by individual nerfs, this has to be like nerf number 20 or so on Gilgamesh. This is absolutely insane that we're still not done nerfing this character. He has only been nerfed, never ever buffed since he first came out. This is absurd at this point that he's still so prevalent and is still being nerfed, you know? It's not just that he's prevalent, he's still nerfable as well. It's not just that he's a consistent character because of his, you know, design and stuff. It's just his numbers are actually still too strong. It's kind of crazy to me, but okay. Decreasing the burst damage, taking it down by 20. On the whole, of course, you max dropkick first, duh. So that does make sense. And decreasing the power scaling, okay, that makes sense too. But to be fair, Runeforge is right there, so I feel like this just brings it back to where it was at the end of the season. You know, now the Runeforge, oh my god, now the Runeforge is here. It kind of brings back this damage back on. You know, decrease the base damage on his 3 as well. Okay, yeah, nerfing it at the early levels of this ability as well. Okay, you see, this one makes more sense to me. Well, not to say that this is nonsensical, right? They're still nerfing the kick, but I do think that just touching it a little bit like this is not going to negate the fact that, you know, Runeforged right there works on the entire ability cast. So, and decrease the base damage. Yeah, okay. I mean, hey, we got it. He's still here, right? Gilgamesh is still here, so gotta nerf him somehow. Next up. So, Mulan, not Mulan, sorry, Izanami first. Spectral Projection, this is her 2. So, this is pretty interesting. They're nerfing the physical power scaling on her 2. I guess this makes sense. I didn't realize it was this high. Was it really? I didn't actually know that. I thought it was 80% the whole time. But, yeah, I mean, I think Izanami was pretty good at the time. At this time. And the builds, yeah, they do...
complement her pretty well. So, you know, I could see this. And, you know, it's not the craziest nerf in the world. Just a little 10%, little chip off. I get that. So I think that's a sensible nerf to this character before things get out of control. Because Izanami's ceiling is, of course, just like almost through the roof. God, that would have been so stupid. But yeah, Izanami's ceiling is extremely high, so you gotta be careful about making her meta. I guess it's a bit like a ROM in that sense. Like, if you just let the character be at full power, they can kind of just run every single game that they're in. So you got to be a little careful with that. So Mulan, man, this sucks. Getting her base damage decreased. Bro, come on. Just let her have the damage, dude. Come on. Some characters are good for, like, seasons at a time, you know? Just let Mulan be good for a season. What's the problem with that? She's my girlfriend. But no, seriously, I think this makes sense, taking a little bit of Mulan's early pressure off, because she kind of just runs at you and the wave with her 2. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it, because she just kind of sits on your face with the 2. I mean, I'm into that. But, yeah, they're taking away from the early game. They don't want to over-nerf her, clearly, because she was garbage tier for a long time. So they don't want to over-nerf her just quite yet, to the point where she's unplayable. But I do see where the frustration comes into it from the player base, because, yeah, she really does kind of W key at you and do all of your HP. So I definitely understand where the nerfs are coming from, even though I'm a Mulan fan, you could say. Yeah, so I think a lot of these are just like, okay, that makes sense. You know, there's nothing game-changing here, to me anyways. These are just a lot of, yeah, okay, I understand where they're coming from with this. And nothing too crazy. I do really like the med change as well, because med was just everywhere. Oh my god. Well, okay, it wasn't everywhere, but it was like every game you were seeing at least a med or two, and especially in the duo lane. So glad to see that going away. And then chaotic beads change, I think, is absolutely sensible. I think that makes complete sense, but it's a bit more game changey, I guess, than some of these other changes. But okay, I like this. It's a decent follow up to the new season. I know they want to let things simmer at least a little bit before we get deeper into the season. So they're trying to play the field a little bit, and they're obviously chipping away at the things that obviously still need to be addressed moving into the new season. So I think that makes sense. So decent changes. What do you guys think? Is this a good patch, a bad patch? Let me know. Thanks for watching.